I've put this video together that explains how to gunsmith a Smith Wesson 3rd generation handgun. I've already made 4 videos on how to completely disassemble and then reassemble the guns. So if you've watched that and you're comfortable now with disassembling the gun to this state where you have nothing left on the frame except for the magazine catch, and also on the slide you have nothing left but the firing pin is still inside it with the firing pin safety, magazine disconnect, and of course I left the rear sight on. If you've able to get it to this point, then I've got a few things here that I'll share with you that I do in order to greatly smooth out the slide and the frame along with these internal parts to the gun that will improve it quite a bit over the way they come from the factory. So up next is going to be some close-ups of these individual pieces in detail where you'll be able to tell the condition of them as they are now, and then I'm going to tell you what it is what we're going to do to them, and then how we're going to do it. And then after that you'll see the actual tools that we will use to accomplish everything. So if you are interested in this video should be a pretty good help to you. Okay, here I'm going to give you a good close-up of the pieces that we're going to be working with and just exactly what we're going to do to them. Here is the drawbar. You can see just how rough the side is of that drawbar. We're also going to polish right here where I'm pointing, and then this part of it right here, and then back here we're going to polish that and that. We're going to make it a little bit better. It's already pretty good from the factory, but we'll make that a little bit better. And whenever we're done with this side right here, this will be as shiny as a mirror. The disconnector right here, we're going to polish this part of it right here, make it perfectly smooth. And then the sear on the lobe right here, we're going to polish that just a little bit. That's the part of the sear that slides up and down, or exerts pressure, if you will, on that flat spring that is installed in the grip of the gun. And the hooks of the sear right here, we're going to polish those and just make it a little bit easier for the sear to release the hammer. And the decocking lever right here, we're going to hit the top of this, make it perfectly smooth. You can even hear this. I think the camera picks that up. That's real gritty. I could actually feel it with my fingernail. But we'll make that perfectly smooth. And on the lever itself, we're going to polish this plunger right here. Just make it a little bit better than it is right now. And then this part of the lever right here, you could see what I'm pointing at. That part that is a little shiny in the video, that is going to get polished smooth. You can hear a little bit of grittiness to it, or I could feel it. That's the part of the lever that presses down on the decocking lever. That will push down on top of the decocking lever, and then that drops the hammer from single action mode back to double. And on the slide, this button right here is what stays inside this little cutout and that little cutout, and then slides back and forth when you move the lever up and down. So we're going to polish out that area there and that area there, and then everything in between, so that when we drop that lever, it's just going to be as smooth as silk. And I almost forgot to mention, on the bottom of the slide right here, you can see where it's a little bit shiny. This is where it rubs on the hammer. Whenever the slide moves backwards, the hammer rubs right there and shines it up a little bit. But then forward of that is the area that drags across the top of the brass case of the round of ammunition that's awaiting in the magazine to go into the chamber next. So you can still see the bead blasting on there from the factory. We're going to smooth that out. The whole bar right here is going to get polished perfectly smooth. And then right here is a little burr. I don't know if it shows up yet. You can still see it there. You can see a little burr right there from when the gun was manufactured. A little bit of machine mark or tool mark there that we're going to take care of. And the hammer, excuse me, the barrel here, what we're planning on doing with this, if I can get it to focus, is we are going to polish the underneath of the hood right here. We're going to sand that out and polish it with a Dremel tool. And we're going to do the same thing to the feed ramp right here. This feed ramp is actually a pretty good one, straight from the factory. Some of these are pretty rough. This one's not bad, but when we're done with this, that's going to be perfectly smooth, as is the surrounding area of the mouth of the chamber. Now the reason why the hood is going to get polished, you may be wondering why that is. If you take a round of ammunition and imagine it being forced in from the slide, you could probably imagine where it could catch a little bit on the hood of the barrel. The shoulder on the ammunition on this particular round is pretty rounded over because it's a reloaded round. It's been used a few times. But if you're dealing with new brass or brand new factory ammunition, it's going to have a very square shoulder where the bullet meets the case. It's not going to have any wear or rounded over part to it. And so if you ever get a failure to feed sometimes, it's because that shoulder of the case is snagging a little bit on the hood right there. So we'll take care of that. And on the frame, hopefully this will focus. So here you can see just how rough that is. This particular frame has a lot of tooling marks on it from the factory. Go all the way up here to the front. You can see where the slide has worn it in just a little bit and made it a little bit better, but we're going to get on this and just make it a whole lot better. And by the time we're done with this gun, these parts are going to slide on each other like well-oiled brass pieces. And here are most of the tools that we're going to use for this project. First up are these India stones. These are the common Norton India stones, very fast cutting. I've just got all kinds of different sizes and shapes. I use them all for different things. Got the regular square ones or rectangular. You got a real small one that's a rectangle. Then there's also one that's triangular, which comes in surprisingly handy. These stones are also from Norton, but these are Arkansas stones. These are extra fine, or they're beyond fine. They will put a edge on a knife like you wouldn't believe. And I've got square, round. I've got a slipstone that's triangular shaped. You can see there, and another triangular shaped stone. May or may not use these on this project. We'll see on that. Then I've got a conical shaped stone. This is very good for removing any burrs on any kind of curved part of the gun, especially like the bushing where the barrel sits in the muzzle. And then these three stones here I had custom made. These are exactly 1/10 of an inch thick, and these fit inside the frame rails of the gun to sand them smooth. They're 1/10 of an inch thick, which fits the 10mm and the 45 caliber guns. If you have a 9mm or a 40 caliber gun, you'll need to get stones that are 0.075 inches thick. These are too thick for those guns. But I got these made from a company in Arkansas. I've got one soft and two medium. They cost, I think, about $15 a piece to have made, and I've got them for all different sizes. These are just the ones we'll be using on this project. I know you probably don't have stones like that, so what you do is you just take a carpenter square, combination square, and you can take 320 grit paper and just wrap it around the blade, such as that, and that will fit inside the frame rails of the frame, and it'll work just as well. It's just a little more time consuming to do this, which is why I got the stones made, just to save time. And the sandpaper we have here, this is all waterproof paper. This is the stuff you buy at Home Depot. I've got 600 grit, 320 grit, and the other one is 220 grit. So with those three papers, I'll set them down on this steel table that is from a table saw. I'll wet the table with water, set the paper on top of the water table, pour more water on top of the paper, and it will suction itself down where I can run my work over the sandpaper. Works very well. And of course I have a loop here to just get a better eye on my work and inspect it. And then also the Dremel tool that I use is just a standard Dremel tool. It's a cheap one, but I've bought these special buffing wheels that you could buy from Brownells. I'm sure there's other gun companies that sell them also, or specialty companies like Midway. I think they're $4 or $5 a piece. They're very expensive, but they do last a long time, but they're a must-have. And that's what I'll use to apply this Mother's Mag polish with. This is just the standard stuff you buy at the auto parts store, but this is what I use to put all the final polish on all of these pieces. So that's it for the tools, and the first video up is going to be me working on the drawbar.